Hello everyone, it's Seth here. I'm back with another video. So let me get right into it and then we'll kind of talk about some things that have been going on as we're working. So today I'm working on replacing the speakers in the car. So I'm starting up front here. There's two Phillips screws. And we'll remove those. This is to get access to the speakers up here. Now I'm told that my car has a slightly different or upgraded audio system. And I'll just use this short screwdriver on this side to pry up the one clip. So if the dashboard was in good shape, you'd want to be careful. This one's all cracked, so I'm not real worried about it. Okay, and then with that, there's two clips then in the front that slide in below the dashboard. So then we'll flip this over, and there's kind of a lot going on back here. But basically you want to, note which wire goes to which wire on the speaker assembly there, which I'll just have documentation because of the video. So we'll just go ahead and disconnect those. So there's one flat terminal there, which is actually pretty thick, and then another round post. Okay, and then that will just lift out. And then we'll take this apart and kind of see what's inside. So I'm all set up here at the back of the car. So let's take a look at this speaker here. And again, this is kind of difficult to do one-handed, but these clips here, there's four of them. Those secure in the larger speaker here, the main one, I guess you could call it. We'll just get that out of the way. So, and then there's these posts that align this cardboard piece underneath. As you can see, they're pretty rough inside, so they're pretty rotten out. I don't think I can do this one-handed, but basically you just kind of gently pry up and then the speaker will come out. So let me put the camera down for a second and I'll do that and we'll move on to the next part. So I did get that removed. I found it easiest to remove, and I've done the other side as well, so both times I found it easier to remove one side and then the other, and then the speaker should come right out. So is that's in bad shape. And then this part here, this can kind of stay in. Now, I'm not a stereo guy, so this is just the way I'm doing it. But again, so I'm not going to make a video on every single thing with this car. There's a lot better people out there on the internet making videos. They're better at making videos and fixing Saab. So I'm not going to do every single thing, but if I see a void, I'm going to try to fill that, and that's what I'm here doing now. So, I'm not a stereo guy, but that doesn't matter. I know people that are, so I'll kind of get this taken apart, do my research, and then if there's any help that I need, we'll get that. So, I need to get everything apart to see what I'm dealing with, but as far as getting everything new in and back together and working properly, well, we'll just see how it goes. This will be part one, just a disassembly, and then if I upload this, that'll mean there will be a second video coming when I put everything back together. So that's the one speaker there, and then there's this capacitor here, and then the other speaker is right over here. So if we flip this over, there are three hex head screws there. So I'll just go ahead and remove those. Okay, then we'll flip this back over. Alright, and then this happened on the other side too, but basically this piece here, there's just a little bit of glue there. You have this piece here that's up against the bottom of the speaker grill, and then there's this magnet on the other side here. So these markings here, it doesn't have a wattage or resistance on it, so I'll have to kind of research what those numbers mean and then kind of go from there, or just see what speakers fit this car. Maybe find out from some other people that have done this before. Okay, so let me move this aside and we'll work on removing the rear speakers. So step one for removing the rear speakers, which sit right back here, first thing I would do is take a picture of where the wires go. So I've already done that. So moving on, these are the tools that I'm using. I have an extension, socket wrench there, 17mm socket, a flathead and Phillips screwdriver, and a 7mm socket with a universal joint, and then I have it on a little driver there. So we'll get to that later. So I've removed the clip for the seatbelt cover, and I've also opened the window. We'll have to remove this, sail panel cover again, and then also this carpeted piece here will have to come out. So that's what the fork is for. This is kind of my way of doing that, just pulling that off. I don't have a trim remover tool with me, so see if we can loosen that up a little bit, and then we'll get that out. Same here, and then we'll remove this 17mm bolt here and these Phillips screws up here, and then we'll remove this cover and pull this carpet out. So let me do that and I'll be right back. So I've removed the bolt and then pulled the seat belt back. I've removed this clip here for the window, and then I've pulled out these little tabs here. And this is a pretty strong fork, pretty thick tines, so I do need to get a trim puller. I haven't yet. It's something that I should have had, and I think at one point I was in a pinch and just needed something to pull out a panel fastener and use that, and it stayed in the garage ever since. So we'll work on that. Next, we'll just remove this weather stripping here, and apparently there's something in there that's a mess. I don't know where that came from exactly. All right, then this should pull right out. And of course that was all off recently to redo the headliner, and then a couple wires up in there. Anyway, then this should more or less come out, so we'll just kind of pull forward on it here and work it off of this post here. And I think I'm going to need both hands for this, so let me put the camera down yet again and we'll get back to it. Okay, so I have that out of the way, and I did fix the speaker grill. I don't know if anybody remembers earlier, but I had bent that a little bit because I put my elbow into it working on the headliner. So that's fixed. That was bothering me. So here's why this cover has to come off. You would have thought that they would have tapped some threads into the metal here, but they didn't. These are loose bolts on the top of the speaker there. So we'll get this 7mm socket on the bottom, and again, this isn't going to be the easiest thing to do. Where are we? There we are. Okay, so we'll loosen that up, but then you can take it apart from the bottom, but then the nuts are going to slide around, so better just to take them off. That way you don't lose track of them. And again, you will probably need a universal joint to get in. It's pretty tight up inside and back in here, so I'll loosen those up and get the speaker out, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So I now have the speaker removed. The bolts in the front just have a washer on the bottom. The ones in the back do have a clip so that they don't slide back and you lose them. And then these look like they'll be a little bit easier to match up, so there are some more usable numbers on there. So that'll end up being an oval speaker. And again, we'll see what we can get to fit and make work and work properly, which that'll be a different challenge altogether. I wonder if Saab thought back in the day when they were building these that, some 30, 40 years later, people would be changing out speakers and doing things like this. People from all walks of life and all ages. I don't know, it's not too bad. Pretty easy job. So with that removed and the front speakers removed, we'll get some new ones ordered. And then I did, like I said, I got the stereo up and working, and this power antenna works. That's very important. That's kind of a period correct thing, so that's important. I'll insert a picture of that if I can get one. And then the stereo here is this Kenwood, AM, FM, and cassette deck player here, and that does work. The fuse was missing in the fuse box, so that was kind of a simple fix, and as far as I can tell, it works fine. So not the most modern or up-to-date system, and I don't know if it's original. I'm kind of thinking it's not, but it works, so we're leaving it. I don't really want to mess with doing an aftermarket wiring harness. I can get an FM transmitter that can hook up to my iPhone and we'll be good to go. Not too much has changed with the car recently. I still need to finish up some detailing up here. All the floor mats have been cleaned, all the upholstery's been cleaned. Nothing too much on the outside of the car other than I finished the suspension and brakes on this side. So that's all done. So here's what happened with the brake caliper. So with that, I had a torn boot on it, and I did take some pictures and I tried to make a video, but the problem was it was kind of a very difficult thing to work on. Long story short, I ended up just changing the boot because it wouldn't have made a very good video anyway, and that caliper was fine. It was just the boot that was ripped, so I apologize for not being able to make something on that. So far with the engine, I've got new injectors in and new spark plugs, and with the new plugs in, the old ones were fouled. They were in pretty tough shape. I'll just leave them over there. So it did start up and run, and it would warm up, and then once it got to idle, it seemed like it would kind of start to cut out. So I was kind of checking around, listening, and it looks like the idle air control valve, starting to cut out once the engine warms up. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more and deal with that. So it's coming along as far as getting the engine to run, but once it runs, it's ready to drive other than tires. So I think I'm going to order new tires this week and have them delivered. So we'll work on the stereo, got new tires, all the brake lines have been flushed out, got all the old fluid out, and all the brakes seem to work as far as I can tell. We'll do a little bit of a driving test then. Got the rust repair there to do yet, and things are kind of opened up here in the trunk again, and that's about it. So the only other thing to mention is I apologize for not making a video yet to celebrate 100 subscribers. I'm well over 100 subscribers at that point. Thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate it. So why haven't I filmed one? Well, it's kind of been a little snowy outside. It's we haven't been getting a lot of snow lately, and then in the last 2 weeks we've gotten snow about every few days. So the roads are covered in cinders. There's salt everywhere. Some of my cars are buried in snow, and I really don't want to film a dirty car on a terrible road where we can't really present it properly. So that's kind of what I was going to do, film a review of one of these vehicles. So we'll work on that then. So I'm just going to wait until we have good weather. So I apologize, but again, it's just a mess out there. And lastly, the BMW. So I did end up buying that. So I'm the co-owner of that now, and we're very happy with it. It's coming along pretty well. A couple small things here and there, but the main issues are taken care of. So maybe I'll make a video on that at some point. All right, thank you for watching.